that things can completely switch on you in an instant. And we know that, there are many doctors in the room. We know that it takes one condition, one heart attack, one stroke, and then suddenly everything goes out the window. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us to seek refuge in Allah from that. But when we talk about balance in our lives, balance in our pursuits, what does that really mean, and how do we relate that to our current context? And here's what I want you to do as you, hopefully over the next half an hour, think about yourself in the context of the words of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the advices of the Prophet, peace be upon him. First and foremost, the Prophet, peace be upon him, what we have to recognize, has the recipe of happiness because the Prophet, peace be upon him, was sent by the one who created us and who knows what makes us happy and what makes us sad. And so when the Prophet, peace be upon him, gives you a specific prescription for how to be, quote-unquote, happy, fulfilled, satisfied, you pay attention because he's getting it from somewhere. And the one he's getting it from created you and knows what brings you happiness and what brings you sadness, and knows how you should structure your entire life cycle in the pursuit of that quote-unquote happiness. Prophet, peace be upon him, was asked by a very famous companion by the name of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, may Allah be pleased with him, for that prescription. And he said there are three things. The first thing, when you get to your prayer, Sallu Salat al-Muwaddi', pray as if it is your last prayer. Every time you approach a prayer, pray as if it is your last prayer. The second thing, he said, وَلَا تَكَلَّمْ بِكَلَامٍ تَعْتَمِرُ مِنْهُ. Don't say things today that you're going to have to apologize for tomorrow. That's quite the prophetic advice. Because we usually get our foots in our mouths because we say something in the heat of a moment and we wish we never said it, and you try to take it back, or you assume that you will have a chance to take it back, but you never really get to take it back. And then he said, وَأَجْمَعْ يَأْسَ مِمَّا فِي أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. And despair in what other people possess. Lose hope in what other people possess. So I want to take you through this very quickly, what this hadith is actually talking about and how we can personally reflect. Then we move on to the community and what this means for us collectively as a community going forward, particularly as a community of contributors. What exactly this means for us. There is a common thread in all three of these things, is that you make the assumption that you have more time. You make the assumption that there will be another prayer. You make the assumption that there will be a day to rectify what you did today. You make the assumption that you will one day achieve or gain what it is that you covet that someone else has. So there is an assumption, and it's a faulty assumption, of more time. And that's a dangerous assumption. And when the Prophet, peace be upon him, says that if you want to rectify your relationship with God, if you want to rectify your relationship with Allah, pursue your prayer, each and every single one of them, as if it is your last prayer. There's something divine about that, and that is the crux of humility in prayer. Why? Because I want you to think about what you're distracted in when you pray, or what you're distracted with when you pray. Usually, the reason why you're distracted is because you're thinking about what comes after the prayer. You've already moved on to your next task at work. You've already moved on to what you have to do for the rest of the day. You're mentally already 2 hours after that prayer, and you're standing in front of Allah in what might be your last prayer. And so when the Prophet, peace be upon him, says, approach each prayer like your last, imagine if you were told, this is your last time that you stand before Allah in prayer. And we know that the first thing you're asked about on the Day of Judgment is your prayer. So this is the last time you stand before Allah in your prayer. Take it seriously. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, narrated that when a person goes into their prayer and they turn away from Allah spiritually, Allah says to that person, Ya abdi ila ayn, O my servant, where are you turning to? Ila khayran minni? Are you turning to something better than me, more worthy of your attention than me? What is it that you're turning to? Focus. You might not have another opportunity, so don't make the assumption that you'll have another prayer. It doesn't matter how important what comes after the prayer is. There is nothing more important than that communication that you have with your Creator. It is the very first thing you will be asked about on the day of judgment. It is the first of the many criterions that God will judge you by on the day of judgment. Start there. Freeze yourself in that moment and make that assumption that this is the very last time I stand before Allah in prayer. There's something that does to you. You know, a few years ago, or actually about 25 years ago, there was an Imam in Masjid Nabawi, Imam al-Maymani, who actually led Dhuhr prayer and then led Janazah for someone else and walked out, had a heart attack, passed away, and was prayed on at Asr in the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. It took one prayer for him to lead and then to be led on. Don't make the assumption that there's more time. That'll help you focus in your prayer. And it's a mental note that you make and say, you know what, this is the last time I'm going to do this. Let me do it right. Let me pay attention. Let me invoke Allah sincerely. He's not asking me for 50 minutes of attention. He's asking me for 5 minutes of attention. I can give him that. And I can focus for a moment. They said, don't say things today that you'll have to apologize for tomorrow. And if you realize how many times in the midst of an argument, because the Prophet peace be upon him taught us that al-'azalatu min ash-shaytan, haste is from the devil, haste is from shaytan. So you quickly try to say the most hurtful thing possible in an argument, because what you're thinking about is not winning the relationship, you're thinking about winning the argument. And the one who wins the argument is the one who hurts more. The one who loses out in the future is the one who hurt more, who caused the most damage. You make the assumption in that argument with your spouse, with your parents, with your children, with a friend, that there will be a time where I can just call back and say, hey, you know what, it's over, I'm sorry, and everything's going to be okay. So the first part of the hadith focused on your relationship with Allah. The second one is in your personal relationships. Don't make the assumption that you'll have a tomorrow to rectify what you say today. Guard your tongue now, because if you lose someone in the midst of an argument, and how many times is it that the last conversation you had with someone was a fight, was an argument, and then you never get to take it back. You never get to take it back. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, is saying, if you're not willing to own something tomorrow, don't say it today. Don't commit all of that damage. And that's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the midst of argument, maintain silence. It's very interesting that khushu' is internal silence in prayer. And the second one is external silence when you're talking to people. Know when to hold yourself and not to jump out in a way that you're going to regret it tomorrow. So the first is you're prioritizing Allah. The second is you're prioritizing the way that you deal with people in your life. And the third, وَأَجْمَعِ يَأْسَ مِمَّا فِي أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. Lose hope and despair in what other people possess. This is how you deal with the things that you have. This goes back to that first story that I gave you in this khutbah, which, by the way, ties all three of these advices together. Why is it that most people are unhappy with what they have? Because they see what other people have and they spend their entire lives in pursuit of more, because no matter what I have, I don't have enough. Because he has more, she has more, and until I get that, then I'm not going to be happy. And in the process, I'm missing out on what I already have. And I'm also distracted from that ultimate pursuit and that ultimate purpose. Have the nicest car that you want, someone else is going to have a nicer car. The nicest house that you want, someone else is going to have a nicer house. Spend as much as you want on the wedding, someone else is going to outdo you with the wedding. Do it with your kids too. Someone else is going to outdo you with their kids. And in that process, it's a rat race for something that is non-existent and something that is always unfulfilled. And so does that mean that I'm not supposed to live with the permissible things that Allah gave to me and enjoy within permissible bounds what Allah gave to me? That's not what it means. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, he said something very profound. He said, لَيْسَ الزُّهْدُ أَلَّا تَمْلِكُ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّهَا أَلَّا يَمْلِكُكَ شَيْئًا. He said, asceticism, zuhud, is not that you own nothing, it's that nothing owns you. It's not that you own nothing, it's that nothing owns you. Is that all of those possessions remain in your hand, not in your heart. And that your ultimate desire and aspiration is what keeps you focused in prayer. And what keeps you calm and collected and composed in your personal relationships. And what keeps you grateful with what you have. so that you don't miss out on what you have in the pursuit of what you don't until you wish for yesterday's slate of blessings and problems. So how do we find balance? First and foremost, if you analyze yourself, dear brothers and sisters, each and every single one of us, and you put yourself to trial, the first thing is this: balance means that you attain a minimum and acceptable level in each one of those aspects of your life. There is no perfection. Perfection belongs only to Allah. But balance is that you distribute yourself properly. There's a very famous incident that took place between one of the great Khalifas, one of the great leaders of this ummah, and he spoke to a great scholar by the name of Abu Hazm. His name was Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik, and he said to Abu Hazm, "Why do we hate death so much? I just want to know why we mentally hate death so much. Why is death such a scary thought to us?" And by the way, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he taught us that it's okay to hate death as long as you don't hate the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hating death, no one likes death. But is it about distance from the mercy of Allah? If I can ask all of you to move forward, inshallah. Move forward as much as you can, please, so we can accommodate those that are on the outside. Uncertainty. This is where we start to attain balance in our lives. For many of us, when we attain success in one area of our lives, but failure in another area of our lives, we run and immerse ourselves in the area of success as a means of ignoring the area of failure. Meaning what? If I am surpassing everyone else and I feel very well achieved and accomplished in my career, but I feel like a failure in regards to my family life or in regards to my spiritual life, instead of rectifying those other two aspects of my life, I'm going to keep immersing myself in what makes me feel good and what makes me feel successful, because I don't want to leave what I've established to that which I have not established. I don't want to leave that which I'm certain about to that which I'm uncertain about. Whereas it's important to have that congruence, that consistency, to where I establish everything at least to the minimum, so that I'm not running away from one aspect of my life to another aspect of my life. What that means is that success in one area of life does not excuse failure in another area of life. In fact, it's one of the greatest tricks of the devil. Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, said in a very famous statement in his Ihya Ulum al-Din. He said that those that are most susceptible to delusion are scholars, worshippers, and people that are very generous. Why? Because the scholar thinks that as long as he's doing well with his scholarship, he can be horrible with everything else in life. So he can teach. And somehow the scholar can justify his corruption by saying, well, at least I'm a great scholar. The worshiper can run away to his worship and say, you know what? I'm great in the masjid. I stand up and pray. So even if I'm not honest in my business, even if I'm not honest in my other relationships, even if I'm messing up in other ways, well, at least I have my worship. And I'm a great worshiper. And a generous person might think that he can just write a check to Allah that'll compensate for everything else. It doesn't work that way. Congruence, consistency. I have to have a healthy level in my spirituality, in my relationships with people, starting first and foremost with my family, where no one's going to give me an award. No one's going to recognize the greatest dad or the greatest mom or the greatest husband, the greatest wife, except for maybe the other person if they're very nice. But for the most part, that stuff doesn't get recognition from people. But it's more meaningful in the sight of Allah than when other people celebrate you. So I establish myself as much as I can and recognize that I don't get to run away from one element of my life to another element of my life, because that makes me feel good. So long as the void still exists, then it will pester me until I deal with it properly. Face it on. That doesn't mean that you will gain perfection. That means that you face it on. Lastly, dear brothers and sisters, I want to speak to us as a community and what we need in terms of our contribution and in terms of our balance, and in terms of the things that we produce for other people, and in terms of living up to the responsibility that Allah has given to us in society. One of the most famous incidents that took place with a companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him, is that as he was on his way out to migrate to escape persecution. As he was leaving Mecca to escape persecution, not to Medina, Abu Bakr was going to Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia, where the first group of Muslims escaped persecution. As he was on his way out from Mecca to Abyssinia, a non-Muslim chief stopped him and said, "Where are you going, O Abu Bakr?" And you know what he said? He said, "Your people have persecuted me for worshiping Allah. So I'm going to leave, and I'm going to go somewhere, Asihu fil ard, where I can explore the earth of Allah, and I can worship Him in peace." And you know what that man said to him? He said to him, "A person like you, O Abu Bakr, can never be turned away, can never be expelled, nor can he be allowed to leave because he's too valuable to society. You mean too much to us." This was the first Muslim ban, by the way. The first Muslim ban was in Mecca. And Donald Trump at the time was Abu Jahl. And Abu Jahl was the Fir'aun of his time, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, called him the Pharaoh of his time. So the very first Muslim ban. A person like you, O Abu Bakr, cannot be allowed to leave, and of course not expelled. That's not dignified for a person like you. And he took Abu Bakr back to the people of Mecca, a non-Muslim chief, and said, "He is in my protection, because a man like this cannot leave, nor can he be expelled." How could we let a man like this go from amongst us? Was it because Abu Bakr was a boastful man? Was it because Abu Bakr was a Muslim? It actually was in spite of him being a Muslim. It was because Abu Bakr understood that the rights of Allah upon him only enhanced the rights of the people upon him, even those that did not worship Allah. So Abu Bakr, despite facing persecution from his people, was a model citizen to his people. He had that balance in life to where this man that would stand up in the night and pray was also such an extraordinary individual and human being with the people that he dealt with, that non-Muslims rose up and said, no, he's not going anywhere. He's too valuable to us. He's done too much for us. And so I want to speak to that last element of balance and contribution. There is a saying that on your way to being a religious person, or on your way to being a good Muslim, don't become a bad human being. Sometimes, unfortunately, and that's a faulty understanding of religion, the more religious I get, the more rude I get. The more of a bad person I become to other people. The more exclusionary I get, the more isolated I become. And that represents a misunderstanding of religion. That's not the religion's problem, that's the person who's approaching the religion in the wrong way. So how do I take from the religion in a way that my enhancing myself in Islam means my enhancing myself as a better person, as a better human being, as someone that benefits everyone around them. The way Allah describes the believer, and this is where I want you to think about. If I was a tree, what would I be? The Prophet, peace be upon him, said the believer is like the palm tree. Well-rooted. It bends, but it doesn't break. It's not seasonal. Its branches are high in the sky. Its fruits are in constant production, and everyone benefits from the shade of the believer. Abu Bakr becoming the most important companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or drawing close to the Prophet, peace be upon him, becoming a better Muslim, became a better Meccan, and became too valuable to society. And if we look around and we pay attention to ourselves, and we heed this warning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see every day people that had it all, and it was all taken away from them, and no one cared, including the family members of that people sometimes. Good riddance. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, every person that leaves this earth, either they are relieved from this world or the world is relieved from them. Either they have given themselves so selflessly for people that when they leave, people miss them because of what they did for others. For the sake of Allah, there was no contradiction between the two. Or people are glad that they're gone. How often do we see people go from palaces to prison cells? And people say, good for him. How often do we see tyrants to the objects of tyranny. And people say, good for him. He brought us nothing. He did nothing for us. And sometimes the sad thing is that it's even within the home. I want you to heed these beautiful verses from the Quran that speak to that situation. Allah spoke about the Pharaoh and people that are like the Pharaoh. And He said, كَمْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ جَنَّاتٍ وَعُيُونٍ وَزُرُوعٍ وَمَقَامٍ كَرِيمٍ وَنِعْمَةً كَانُوا فِيهَا فَاكِهِينَ كَذَلِكَ وَأَوْرَثْنَاهَا قَوْمًا آخَرِينَ فَمَا بَكَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَا كَانُوا مُنظَرِينَ. He said, how many palaces and gardens and cars, in that sense, and fountains and possessions did they leave behind? Blessings that people would look at and say, I wish I could live in that house. I wish I could drive that car. I wish I could have that garden. And then Allah says, just like that, I snatched it away from them, and I let another group of people inherit it from them. And you know what Allah says? Nor the heavens nor the earth shed a tear for them. Nor were they given respite in the hereafter. Nor the heavens nor the earth shed a tear for them. Nor were they given respite in the hereafter. Meaning all those mansions and all those cars and all those possessions went to absolute waste. And people did not notice your absence except by the structures you left behind that were inherited by others. Dear brothers and sisters, balance goes back to that hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Pray as if it's your last prayer. Don't say things that you'll have to apologize for tomorrow. And despair in what other people possess. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I leave you with this powerful, profound hadith. He said in one of the 40 hadith of Nawawi, renounce the world and Allah will love you. Renounce what people possess and people will love you. Renounce the world and Allah will love you. Renounce what people possess and people will love you. What that means is not to be a hermit. What that means is to use what Allah gave you for blessings to spend your life in perpetual gratitude. What that means is not to pursue the absolute best that you can in terms of your dunya, in terms of this world of yours. What that means is that you pursue for the sake of helping other people. That what you gain of this world, you give back. Because you recognize that it never was really yours. And in that process, people pray for you. People remember you in the best of ways. People speak of you. And the ultimate legacy is not what people say about you. The ultimate legacy is what Allah says about you. Legacy is not in how you're remembered. Legacy is ultimately in how you're resurrected. And how Allah sees you on the day of judgment when He examines all that He gave you and all that you did with what He gave you. The first Muslim ban in Mecca that took place did not recognize the invaluable contributions of that community. The current Muslim ban in the United States and all the Islamophobia does not recognize all of the goodness that comes from the community of believers in this country. And so, alhamdulillah, we have a lot to show for ourselves as a community, but we can still do better. We can do better in our individual lives, we can do better as communities. We ask Allah to allow us to be rooted trees that shade everyone around us. We ask Allah to allow us to be among those that focus first and foremost on their relationship with Him and that prioritize Him above all else. And then in the process of prioritizing Him above all else, do not lose sight of the creation of Allah around them. We ask Allah to put in our hearts generosity and compassion and selflessness. We ask Allah to make us a people that are guided and that are guided through, to rectify our hearts and to rectify other hearts through our hearts. We ask Allah to correct our situations and to correct other people's situations through us. We ask Allah to protect us from oppression and to allow us to be a source of relief for other people that are being oppressed. We ask Allah to allow us to find balance and to find that which is pleasing to Him in all aspects of our lives. We ask Allah that when we leave this world, that we have left behind contributions so that other people will pray for us when we leave this world. And we ask Allah that if we wrong anyone, that He forgive us for that wrong, that we allow our good to overlook or to be a source of overlooking all of those wrongdoings. And we ask Allah that ultimately